The rhythm of healing, the octaves method. O is for observation, through stillness we find meditation and breath work that quiet the mind. In silence we listen, the answers are clear, awareness emerges, dissolving the fear. C is for compassion, for self and for all, embracing the good, the struggles, the fall. With kindness we grow, we nurture, we mend, learning to love ourselves as we extend. T is for therapy, a path we explore. Daily we practice unlocking the door. From journaling to mindfulness, healing begins. Each step is a victory as peace settles in. A is for animals and laughter so bright, like children at a play, their joy taking flight. With playfulness and movement, we rediscover the way to heal through the fun that we often delay. V is for victuals, nourishing and pure, detoxifying the body and keeping us sure. We choose what we eat with intention and grace, fueling our journey at our own pace. E is for exercise, where movement is free. We stretch and we bend in sweet harmony. Flexibility grows with choices we make. In strength and in stillness, our bodies awake. S is for socialize, where self-growth begins. Others reflect our triggers and the places within. Through relationships, our true selves we find, growing and healing with each tie that binds. The octaves method, where all behavior makes sense. We just need to find the sense it presents. We just need to find the sense it presents. We just need to find the sense it presents.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 5 of the Trauma and Social Work Podcast. I am KJ Alexander here with my co-host, Tonya Octave, and today we have a lot of important information to dive into. But before we get started, I'm going to go ahead and let Tonya tell a little bit more about herself and what this podcast is about.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tonya Octave, and we are going into Season 5 of Trauma and Social Work Podcasts, where we will be discussing and diving deep into my book called Heal the Mind, 7 Strategies Towards Mental Wellness, Happiness, and Success, Exploring Trauma, Mental Wellness, and Ways to Live a More Balanced Life. And before we begin, just a simple reminder that this podcast is for informational purposes only. It is not intended for medical, psychological, mental health, or legal advice. Although I'm a licensed professional, this is not a formal type of treatment. We may talk about things like hypnosis and meditation and things that we would do in a therapeutic, from a therapeutic perspective, but it's not a form of treatment. For individual questions about your wellness, your happiness, and your success, please seek out a professional. And if you are experiencing a mental health crisis, do call 911 or go to your nearest emergency room.
Great, awesome. That was amazing. So with that being said, I want to make sure I tell the audience, if you haven't already, follow this page on Spotify, YouTube, and any other platforms we post episodes on. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any upcoming episodes in the future. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get started.
So I guess I would say a first part as we get into this section of the book, the V for Victuals, is really thinking about what can I do? Read. Start reading these labels. Start looking at, if you can't pronounce it, we all have a cell phone nowadays. Google or AI it, chat GBT it, and kind of see what is it, and you might kind of like start being, that they put rat poison in my food. I'm not saying that it's rat poison, but there are ingredients in there that you will be like, this is interesting. When I made a
Yeah.
decision to go gluten-free, I had made the assumption that the gluten-free meant that you didn't have wheat, because I also have a mild allergy to wheat. One, I've been eating wheat all my life ever since. Well, I used to eat wheat all my life. And
Yeah.
so the fun part about it was reading an ingredient list, and it said that it had wheat in it, although it was vegan and gluten-free. So you make an
Mm.
interesting point that you really have to be careful. And this is what, why we're talking about this V for Victos. Victos is about having nutritional food that is detoxifying. Most of your foods that are green in nature are going to help with the detoxification process. Or you can even get the little chlorophyll tablets or liquid chlorophyll that you can just pour, like maybe into a bottle of water, and you can drink that throughout the day, so that you're getting that into your bloodstream for it to start detoxifying. So those would be the two things that I would say would be to take away from today. Start reading labels as a point of curiosity, and figure out how you're going to get more greens into your diet. And then and then you can have kind of like beautiful salads like this, where you can
Yeah.
put all kinds of dressings on this. I'll probably add some hemp seeds to it. But you can put all kinds of vegetables. What you don't want to do with a salad like this is, let me ask you, what would you add? So I put some vegetables in the salad. What would you add to this salad? Let's say we were going to think about the six tastes. Because
Okay.
that sometimes usually people are satisfied when you have the six tastes. So sweet. Do we have sweet? Tomatoes are sweet. They are.
Fruits.
You get that junk when your taste buds change. You'll be like, oh, this is sweet.
Yeah.
That
Me
was actually
personally, I do like I can eat a lot of salad, but I usually go for like a honey sesame or like a vinegar, just to kind of give that sweet.
okay. So the sesame, that will have a little bit of your protein. The honey is a little bit of the sweet. What about salty? How are we going to get some salty in this?
Yeah, I'm not a big salt person, but I mean, I try to avoid table salt, but we'll do like seasoning salt or like Italian seasoning, things like that.
So your natural salt, especially if you have blood pressure issues, should be celery, my darling. So
Okay.
like celery is salt. Like, that is
Yeah.
salt. Now that I said it, and at the same time, I can taste the salt. But what I also say is our sea stuff. Think about the ocean and the sea, right? Like seawater.
Yeah.
That's salty, right? Like, so you can get things like Dulce. They have a couple of brands here. And then I have Dulce flakes. I have sea lettuce flakes. And then nori flakes. You can just kind of add these. I don't want to add it now, but you can just kind of sprinkle and add those to your salad. The good thing about sea vegetables too is iodine. And there is a belief and a theory that we are iodine deficient, and that is actually what's causing a lot of aches, a lot of pains for people. And so that you need to know a lot more information about that than what I just said. But thinking about how we can get iodine into our body, especially if we went through something like the airport and we were exposed to radiation, or we had an X-ray, then you want to kind of get that stuff detox from your body as well. So we did sweet, salty. What about bitter? What would
Mm.
you add that's a bitter?
Oh, that's a tough one.
This could be a bitter.
With like asparagus, just other vegetables, maybe some, croutons or something.
Croutons are not bitter.
They're not.
They're
Okay.
more like a crunchy taste, but that, unless you're making the croutons yourself, which I have a great recipe for, um, they're going to be filled with a lot of junk. So read the
Okay.
ingredients, croutons, but there are some really great options for that. But a bitter might be like kale, or like a green leafy thing
Okay.
that
So like a uncooked spinach type deal. Okay.
you could even put, like, as your base, a layer of spinach, and then like take a handful, 2 handfuls, and put it on your plate like that. That would be great. We have like a crunchy taste. I'm trying to think what else is it? Sweet and sour. I always squeeze lemon, or you can use apple cider vinegar as kind of like maybe a mix-in with your
Okay.
dressings. Your dressing. Something else that I may also add to my dressing is black seed oil. That is a bitter. It's hard to like just take it by itself with nothing else. But if you mix it into a
Yeah.
dressing, it is a beautiful healing dressing that can be, it's a high anti-inflammatory, antiviral. It has a lot of, powerful benefits in terms of healing the body, especially, I think it started to become more popularized or repopularized because it's been around for many, many years, but more repopularized since COVID. That's when it became
Okay.
more coming back into the world. And then, like, maybe you would top it. You mentioned croutons. So maybe hemp seeds are a good option, or nuts gives you that crunchy taste. Another
Yeah.
thing you can do is, which is one of my favorites, is coconut chips. So you can get coconut chips or coconuts that are dehydrated and kind of broken up.
Hmm.
I tend to marinate mine in a smoked sauce to give it that smoky taste. And what I
Yeah.
mean by smoky taste is that bacon taste. But I don't, to me, bacon is gross. So I don't like saying to give it a bacon flavor, but most people were like, there was a point where I used to want to still have that bacon,
Yeah.
used as a phrase.
No, that
But
makes
it
sense.
gives
Kind of
like a,
like smoked barbecue.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure.
And those are really easy to do. And then you just, once you do them, you kind of set them aside and then you just put them in the salad for the crunch. Do you make any of your own salad dressings or do you mainly just buy?
Ooh, yeah. I mean, I definitely would like to get more into that. I'm not really a hands-on person. Me personally, I like to make my eating process as simple as possible
Okay.
and as healthy as possible for me. But I do definitely want to get into making my own things and things like that. And I think it's just interesting to note that this is probably one of the most important episodes we've done so far, just due to the fact that there really isn't much of a marketing campaign for vegetables and organic food at
Mhm.
all. So, when you talk about, what is first in a consumer's mind, it usually goes down to what they see the most. And a lot of times it's commercials about unhealthy food and processed food and all these products that have been commercialized. But you rarely ever just see like a vegetable commercial. I mean, you may see like, you have like the Jolly Green Giant, but I'm not exactly sure how organic those vegetables really are.
That
So
top spinach, none of it was organic.
yeah. So, I think that goes back to saying why episodes like this are so important, because it definitely brings awareness to the organic vegan lifestyle. And I wonder if you could even talk about people who may not necessarily want to get into strict raw veganism. But what are some options for people who may want to go more of the vegetarian route and incorporate other items into their diet while also maintaining a healthy diet and lifestyle?
So take one item at a time. So if you want to start kind of being more vegetarian, let's say, at least moving down that route, I don't say take away foods. I say add foods to your body.
Okay.
So like even for you, you're not necessarily someone who likes to get in the kitchen every day and kind of like make something. But if you made this salad on a Sunday, wouldn't this last you all week?
Probably, yeah, like at least a couple of days.
You would take your bed of spinach, you would take your 2 things and put it on here. And then you can switch it up. It can be sesame tahini dressing one day, or you can put a marinara and make it like a pasta in a fusion the second day. You can do a Thai twist for the third day. So you can change the flavor and the base is the same. And so, and then you have to eat it all before it starts to go
Yeah,
bad.
for sure.
That's the other part. And so what I would say is start experimenting with that. See that when you go to the grocery store, see how you can see how beautiful this is, and not when you're looking at a cupcake, how diabetes this is.
Yeah,
Like diabetes, free health. Diabetes, free health. Diabetes, I mean, so like start including, just start adding some more vegetables and more vegetables, then start adding more organic vegetables and organic vegetables. And then give yourself maybe some challenges if that works for your mind. So let's say like for this next 3 months, this is the process I did to go off of dairy, is I took the dairy that I didn't care too much about all the way to the last piece of dairy that I would give up. So I started to give up things like yogurt. That was kind of easy. I could do that for a couple months, never really liked yogurt, things like that. And then I started to give up more stuff and more stuff. And then I got to milk. And I was like, ooh, I don't want to give up milk. It's like an association. When I was a kid, my dad drank milk every day with milk with ice.
yeah,
That was just so great. And
yeah,
how I gave up milk was a process. I used to say I had to drink a gallon of water before I could have it.
and just for reference, you're talking about cow's milk because there are different types of milk, and cow's milk is probably the most common and most harmful to humans at this point. So I think it's important we make that distinction because you also have other types of milk. You have oat milk, you have goat's milk, which are a little bit different. So in terms of how the body processes it and breaks it down. So yeah, I think
That's
it's important to make that distinction for sure.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, but sorry for cutting you off, but yeah, I just wanted to bring attention to that.
So do it in steps. And so like then I came off of cow's milk. And then the next step was cheese. Oh, that became a fun process. I had to read a lot. I
Yeah,
had to research. I had to know about the dairy industry. And there were several books that kind of helped me along the way because I had to work with those thoughts. That cheese, I was holding on to it. It's like an addict. I was an addict. I mean, I was eating and consuming a lot of it. And then when I finally gave that up, there were some hiccups along the way, and then you forgive yourself. And right now, there's so many great options to have out there that you can make this path more welcoming. Which is why I felt if you want to be on this path, if you want to be healthy in terms of moving towards more eating more vegetables, I've created a 7-week pre-recorded hypnosis, a series of hypnosis tapes. So part of it involves some psychosocial education where I talk about herbs and I talk about supplements because that's very, very important. Remember, I was deficient when I was a kid, which is why I was eating grass.
yeah,
It talks about some other things. And then I give you a weekly hypnosis, a pre-recorded hypnosis you know, speech where I talk to you about food when you're in a relaxed state so that I'm also working with your subconscious mind. So that is also available for those who want to purchase the upcoming group. But those are things like that can be added for your overall wellness to help you on this path because it doesn't have to be difficult. Um, but
right.
it's a challenge. And are you up for the challenge?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think for our listening audience, that is the first step is asking yourself, is this a challenge I want to accept in order to improve or just sustain a healthy lifestyle? And, I think that's really where it starts. And then from there, you can go into, the different benefits and what works for you. And kind of wanted to get into the benefits of a vegan lifestyle, which you listed a few here in your book. And it goes on to say there are many benefits of being a vegan/vegetarian and eating healthily. A vegan lifestyle has the following benefits: regulates and increases energy, relieves stress on your immune system, improves or eliminates chronic illness, weight loss, weight maintenance, regulates and eases menstrual cycle. Hormones from dairy are known to increase fibroids, cysts, and endometriosis in women. Increases longevity and improves the quality of life. The oldest people globally have a whole food organic lifestyle with about 97% vegan. And a vegan lifestyle is a more cost effective on a long term basis. So I definitely found those benefits to be very crucial. I wonder if we could kind of just, for the listening audience who may not be super familiar, the difference between vegan and vegetarianism. So, how I understand it, and I may be wrong, but let me just test myself on this.
Okay.
Veganism is strictly vegetables in various forms, which is all you can really eat. And vegetarianism would incorporate vegetables amongst other fruits, maybe other sources of food, but just no meat as far as, from a animal. Is that about right?
Yeah. So with the
Okay.
vegetarian, you can have things like dairy. Some will eat eggs, but really
Okay.
it's just I'm not eating meat, which also includes fish or
Fish.
seafood like shrimp
Okay.
and things like that. So those are your vegetarians. If you do eat fish or see things, then those can be like your pescatarians.
Right.
People who eat fish and vegetables. And then a vegan does not eat eggs. A vegan does not eat meats, obviously, or fish. Someone once told me of I don't eat anything with the head on it. And I thought, like, oh, that's interesting. But
Yeah.
okay, sure. I don't even
It's
know what to say to that. Okay. But vegans also don't eat dairy. And
okay.
vegans, there's a part about having a vegan lifestyle too, meaning that you think and appreciate animals in a different way. So you can be vegan in terms of your food choices. You could be vegan in terms of your lifestyle, meaning that there are certain ways that you feel about animals.
Mm.
You don't want to harm things. You might, instead of like if a spider comes in the house, you might take a spider outside of the house instead of like just killing the spider. So there's different things. The
Okay.
clothes that you wear sometimes are representative of a vegan lifestyle. So sometimes there's like that cultural component. And even within vegan lifestyle, you can tease that out a little bit further because as you said earlier, KJ, was that there are vegans who aren't eating healthy. And you
Yeah.
probably know some, and you're like, well, what did you have today? And they're like, oh, I had some French fries. That's it? Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't like vegetables. I'm not, wait a minute, I'm confused. You're vegan and you don't like vegetables, but you want French fries. So how can we recorrect that? Right.
Yeah.
And that's where the hypnosis part comes in is you can correct that cognitive error because if you want to be vegan, then you should want to love vegetables and come into that true, authentic aspect of yourself. Um, and so like that, and that's where hypnosis can be helpful. I think we're having a little bit of issues with one of my videos. For some reason, it's not playing.
Yeah, the camera is a little frozen.
Frozen. Okay.
But yeah, I think that was very good, very important to mention. Also the fact that a vegan lifestyle could be more cost effective over the long term. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that is one thing that does kind of deter people away from veganism and vegetarianism is the cost aspect of it could appear to be more than, traditional American culture food. But if you consider the long-term cost of, not developing health issues and having to pay medical bills and expenses, then it is actually a lot cheaper over the long term. So I think understanding that is very key to making this transition. And even me personally, like I'm not necessarily a vegan or a vegetarian, but I do understand the importance of, vegetables in a person's diet. And I do believe balance is very key in order to maintain a healthy lifestyle. So I wonder if you can kind of talk about the importance of having a balanced diet and incorporating different minerals and vitamins into one's diet and how they can do that even if a person doesn't necessarily want to be classified as a textbook definition of vegan or vegetarian, but they still want to add and get the necessary supplements and vitamins they need. So what would you say are the most necessary things that a person should incorporate in their diet for the most part?
So if you're an adult and you're making your own food choices and you're controlling your money, then I would say you need to work with a nutritionist or a coach,
Okay.
someone who is trained, who has more of an extensive knowledge about this. Um, when you are wanting to work out and you like start a gym membership, sometimes you're influenced by getting a trainer if there's something that you want to do in particular, like you might want to train for a marathon or to bulk up and look bigger or to look slender, or like you go to classes, so you ask for help from other people who are doing it, who have a lot more knowledge in it. Do the same for food, because what you know about food has probably been lied to about it. And so
Yeah.
you go to the supermarket thinking you're doing great by getting your bell pepper that it is not organic. You're also putting, because it is attached to that skin, especially if it's one of those 12 dirty dozens. If you know what if that rings a bell to you, then you know what I'm talking about. If that doesn't ring a bell to you, then you do need to, that should just tell you more that you need to work with a nutritionist or a coach, someone who's going to kind of help you, assist you in that process. Um,
Okay.
but that would be the first step, because there's so much misinformation out there. The other option is to sign up for my 7-week hypnosis series of hypnosis tapes so that you can listen to them and learn, because I'm going to be teaching you about food along the way in the two part videos that you'll get throughout the day. Um, so if you didn't know, then what would you do? What supplements would you start for? I always say two of the things that are usually the safest for people, and you know your own health in that way, and you know that it's not advice. Anything that you do in terms of your health, that you would consult with your primary care doctor or whoever is supervising you medically. Um, Chlorophyll. You can simply get a bottle of chlorophyll.
Okay. And just for the people who may not know, what exactly is chlorophyll?
Chlorophyll is extracted from all the green stuff. I mean,
Okay.
so this is actually what I do in the morning. Get BPA free bottles. You take like your glass bottle.
Okay.
I pour it because remember, I love green stuff and dirt. And to me, the greener, the better juicy it is. But even like you have something like this, you pour your water into it and look at that color. I like mine's a dark green. You can start off with a light green. So you might be one that kind of measures it first. And then you have your chlorophyll. I probably would make this a little darker, but then you have your chlorophyll for the day. For me, it tastes a little minty.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of childhood. So you might have some association with it when you first start drinking it, because you might not be used to the earthliness of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Too much, so you can always get these little small chlorophyll tablets that you can take, um, that kind of gets some of that stuff in the body, starting to kind of purify the blood, cleanse the blood, and then
Yeah.
magnesium. I think that we are also deficient in magnesium. There's a couple of different types of magnesium, so you can kind of do the research in terms of what would be best for you. This is also where that coach would come in, that nutritionist would be a good person to kind of, with your body, work with you on that. But magnesium is great. It helps a lot for a variety of things and situations. I probably should do just a YouTube video just on magnesium because there's a lot to say about that. But those would probably be the two. Most people will recommend a multivitamin. Most people will recommend something oily like a fish, omega
Yeah.
3, or omega 6 combo, even a 9. So there could be like other things, and then this is when you start kind of teasing out more about your specific needs. So if you're having fatigue or brain fog or anxiety, there's other things, other herbs, other supplements you put into your body that can make it so that it's not difficult for the body to do what the body needs to do. There's a phrase that I say: get the mind out of the way so the body can heal. Because that's what the body wants to do. The body wants to heal. It's your mind that says, I want these Snickers. It's your mind that says, I'm stressed out, let me go get these chips.
Yeah.
Right? So my mind says, okay, cucumber, what am I going to do? Am I just going to eat you like this? Or do I need to mix you with something like hummus and a tomato? So get the mind out of the way so the body can heal, because that's what its intention is to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that is very important. And, you know, I think that the best advice, like you said, would be to get with an expert, somebody who knows about nutrition, and get the right information first. Because, unfortunately in this country, like I'll even speak for myself, we don't necessarily know what actual fruits and vegetables look like. Like, for a long time, I wasn't so sure if bananas were actually fruit because I never saw a banana with seeds in it, and I thought all fruits have seeds in it. But it wasn't until I saw an actual banana that was free of any GMOs or additives. They actually have seeds in them. So that was one thing I had to realize. Most of the fruits I've grown up seeing in vegetables they don't actually look like that in their natural state. So it's important to get with somebody who knows so you can get that information first and know what is actually important. And then you can kind of go from there. Whether it's you or somebody else is up to the person. So I think we'll definitely get into more of this discussion in our next episode. We'll talk more about herbs and the difference between raw and cooked vegan food. But I think we'll go ahead and leave it here for now. This has been a lot of information we got into on this episode. Is there anything you would like to leave the audience with before we part ways?
I just make a delicious salad.
That looks really good.
Seeds on it. You got all kinds of vegetables in here. I did a zucchini, sesame seed dressing. I would probably, for the salty, if I didn't do like a sea vegetable, I might even put like olives in it. I know somebody who loves olives. I could put those in there.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm also a nutritionist, a holistic nutrition. So if you did want to work on your diet and you wanted to make changes and you wanted maybe more one-on-one instruction, I'm also available worldwide to work with people in terms of meal planning, creating optimal ways to, not only work with the subconscious mind and just when you see this, you see beauty. And when you see Lay's chips, you see cancer. You see things what they really are, what the potential of what they really could be. So I just also wanted to, offer that as well, that I do work with people worldwide in terms of getting their health, using nutrition, using victuals, thinking about food that you put into your body, how it is going to detoxify your body, and how it's going to provide the cells, the things that we're made of, our cells, what the cells need. So when my cells are like, oh my God, it seems like you're around some toxic energy. Where's my vitamin C to fight this off? That cell can go out and grab it because there is so much vitamin C in my body right now because I'm in kind of an abundance right now for a particular reason. It can grab it and says, now I can stay plump and juicy. But what happens is, what is going on in a depleted state, and if you're in America, you probably are in a depleted state. When the cell reaches out for that vitamin C, it's not there. And it starts to get depleted over time, and that sets the body up for what people are aware of in terms of terminology, and that's acidity. And when your body is acidic, when your cells are acidic, when your cells aren't moving and they start to get sticky, then now you have a host environment for disease like cancer to set in.
Absolutely. And that is one thing that we should try to avoid as much as possible as people. And some of the things we've discussed in this episode are definitely one of the ways that people can go about that. So I want to thank you once again for offering your knowledge and information on today's episode. And everyone out there listening, if you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We have more episodes coming to you guys in the future. Don't want you to miss out. And with that being said, that is all the time we have for today. Thank you, everyone, once again for tuning in. And until next time, everyone, be safe and be healthy. Bye-bye.
The rhythm of healing, the octaves method. O is for observation, through stillness we find meditation and breath work that quiet the mind. In silence we listen, the answers are clear, awareness emerges, dissolving the fear. C is for compassion, for self and for all, embracing the good, the struggles, the fall. With kindness we grow, we nurture, we mend, learning to love ourselves as we extend. T is for therapy, a path we explore. Daily we practice unlocking the door. From journaling to mindfulness, healing begins. Each step is a victory as peace settles in. A is for animals and laughter so bright, like children at a play, their joy taking flight. With playfulness and movement, we rediscover the way to heal through the fun that we often delay. V is for victuals, nourishing and pure, detoxifying the body and keeping us sure. We choose what we eat with intention and grace, fueling our journey at our own pace. E is for exercise, where movement is free. We stretch and we bend in sweet harmony. Flexibility grows with choices we make. In strength and in stillness, our bodies awake. S is for socialize, where self-growth begins. Others reflect our triggers and the places within. Through relationships, our true selves we find, growing and healing with each tie that binds. The octaves method, where all behavior makes sense. We just need to find the sense it presents. We just need to find the sense it presents. We just need to find the sense it presents.